Captain Jake Morrison walked across the bridge of his ship. The UES Thunderbolt was the newest and strongest warship that Earth had ever built. Jake looked out at the stars through the big window. Something bad was coming. He could feel it in his bones. The communication officer turned around in her chair. Her name was Lieutenant Amy Carter. She had been working on the ship for 3 years. Amy was good at her job. She never made mistakes with the radio messages. "Captain, we have an urgent message from Earth Command," Amy said. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear she was worried. "Put it on the main screen," Jake told her. The screen lit up. Admiral Lisa Grant appeared. She was the top military leader for all of Earth's space forces. Lisa had gray hair and serious eyes. She had been fighting battles in space for 20 years. Everyone respected her. "All ship captains, listen carefully," Lisa said. "We have received a message from an alien race. They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire. The message is not good news." Jake felt his stomach drop. First contact with aliens. Every human had dreamed about this day. But not like this. Lisa continued, talking. "The Zephyrians have given us 1 week. They want us to leave all our colonies outside the solar system. If we do not leave, they will destroy every human settlement they can find." The bridge became very quiet. Jake looked at his crew. They all had the same worried look on their faces. The colonies were home to millions of people. Families lived there. Children played in those distant worlds. "They attacked our colony on Kepler 442b yesterday," Lisa said. "The attack lasted only 2 hours. Every building was destroyed. Most people escaped in time, but thousands died." Amy put her hand over her mouth. She had friends on that colony. Her sister had lived there for 5 years. "The survivors told us about the alien ships," Lisa continued. "They are not like our ships. The alien ships are alive. They are grown, not built. When we damaged them, they healed themselves. Our weapons could not stop them." Jake had heard stories about bioships before. Some scientists thought it was possible, but seeing it happen was different. How do you fight something that can heal itself? "The Zephyrians have conquered 47 star systems," Lisa said. "They have never lost a war. They think humans are weak. They think we will run away without fighting." The Admiral paused. She looked directly into the camera. "They are wrong about us." Jake smiled for the first time that day. He knew that look. Lisa was planning something big. "All Prometheus-class ships are ordered to Jupiter Station immediately," Lisa said. "This includes your ship, Captain Morrison. We have work to do." The message ended. The screen went dark. Jake turned to his crew. They were all looking at him. They wanted to know what he was thinking. "You heard the Admiral," Jake said. "Set course for Jupiter. Maximum speed." The ship's pilot was a young man named Pete Johnson. He had joined the crew 6 months ago. Pete was the best pilot Jake had ever seen. His hands moved quickly over the controls. "Course set, Captain," Pete said. "We will reach Jupiter in 18 hours. Jake nodded. He walked to his command chair and sat down. 18 hours to think about what was coming. 18 hours to prepare for the biggest fight in human history. Amy turned around again. "Captain, I am getting reports from other colonies. The aliens are moving toward our settlements. The colony on Proxima Centauri B is asking for help." "How long until they get there?" Jake asked. 3 days? Maybe 4? Amy replied. Jake did the math in his head. They could reach Jupiter in 18 hours, but getting from Jupiter to Proxima Centauri would take weeks even with their fastest ships. The colony would be destroyed before help could arrive. "Send a message to Proxima Centauri," Jake said. "Tell them to evacuate everyone. Get every person off that planet as fast as possible." Amy started typing the message. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. Jake watched her work. She was trying to save lives. They all were. Commander Ryan Blake walked onto the bridge. Ryan was in charge of intelligence. He knew more about alien technology than anyone else in the fleet. Ryan had been studying the reports from Kepler 442b all night. "Captain, I have some information about the Zephyrian ships," Ryan said. He was carrying a tablet computer. The screen showed pictures of the alien vessels. Jake looked at the pictures. The ships looked like giant sea creatures. They had smooth, curved surfaces. Lights moved under their skin like blood in veins. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The survivors said the ships moved like living things, Ryan explained. They twisted and turned in ways that should be impossible. When our missiles hit them, the holes closed up in minutes. What about their weapons? Jake asked. Energy beams that can cut through our strongest armor, Ryan said. But here is the interesting part. They seem to use the same type of weapon for everything, no variety, no backup systems. Jake thought about this. Human ships carried many different types of weapons: missiles, lasers, projectile guns, and more. Each weapon was good for different situations, but the aliens only used energy beams. They have always won easily, Ryan continued. Maybe they never needed different weapons. Maybe they never met an enemy that could fight back. Jake stood up from his chair. He walked to the big window again. The stars looked the same as always. But everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. And their new neighbors wanted them dead. Ryan, what do we know about their numbers? Jake asked. Intelligence estimates at least 50 ships in their main fleet, Ryan replied. Maybe more. Each ship is huge. Some are over 2 kilometers long. Jake whistled softly. 50 ships. The Thunderbolt was only 800 meters long. The human fleet had 12 Prometheus-class ships total. The numbers did not look good. But Jake remembered something his father had told him long ago. His father had been a soldier in the old Earth wars. Son, his father had said, it is not the size of the army that matters. It is the fight in the soldiers. The Zephyrians thought humans were weak. They thought humans would run away. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had learned hard lessons about survival. They had built weapons that could kill other humans. Now they would use those weapons to protect their species. Jupiter Station was getting closer. Soon Jake would see the rest of the human fleet. Soon they would make their plans. The aliens wanted a war. They would get one. But it would not be the easy victory they expected. Jake looked at his crew one more time. Amy was still sending messages to the colonies. Pete was checking the ship's systems. Ryan was studying alien technology. They were all working hard. They were all ready to fight. The Thunderbolt flew through space toward Jupiter. Behind them, alien ships moved toward human colonies. Ahead of them, the biggest battle in human history was waiting. Jake was ready. His crew was ready. Earth was ready. The stars watched silently as two species prepared for war. The UES Thunderbolt arrived at Jupiter Station 18 hours later. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge and looked out at the most amazing sight he had ever seen. 12 massive warships floated in space around the station. Each ship was painted dark gray with Earth's blue and white flag on the side. Jake had never seen all the Prometheus-class ships together before. They were beautiful and deadly at the same time. Each ship was 800 meters long and carried enough weapons to destroy a small moon. These were the most powerful warships that humans had ever built. Admiral Lisa Grant's flagship was the biggest of all. The UES Leviathan was 900 meters long and carried twice as many weapons as the other ships. Jake could see it through his window. The ship looked like a metal mountain floating in space. "Captain, we are getting a signal from the Leviathan," Amy Carter said from her station. "Admiral Grant wants all captains to come aboard for a meeting." Jake nodded. "Tell her I will be there in 20 minutes. He left the bridge and walked to the shuttle bay. The shuttle was a small ship that could carry him from the Thunderbolt to the Leviathan. As the shuttle flew between the two ships, Jake looked at all the activity around Jupiter Station. Thousands of people were working on the ships. Some were loading weapons. Others were checking the engines. Everyone was getting ready for battle. Jake could see the worry on their faces, but he could also see determination. These people knew what was at stake. The shuttle landed in the Leviathan's bay. Jake walked through long corridors filled with crew members. Everyone saluted him as he passed. Finally, he reached the meeting room where all the other captains were waiting. Admiral Grant stood at the front of the room. Behind her was a huge screen showing pictures of the alien ships. The other 11 captains sat around a long table. Jake recognized all of them. These were the best ship commanders that Earth had. "Gentlemen and ladies," Admiral Grant began, "we have 4 days before the aliens reach our next target. 4 days to prepare for the most important battle in human history." She pressed a button on her control pad. The screen changed to show a map of local space. Red dots showed where the alien ships were moving. Blue dots showed the human colonies. "The Zephyrians are heading for our colony on Titan Base," Lisa continued. 50,000 people live there. We cannot evacuate them all in time. We have to stop the aliens before they get there." Captain Karen Walsh raised her hand. She commanded the UES Retribution. "Admiral, intelligence reports say the aliens have 50 ships. We only have 12. How can we win?" Lisa smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "Commander Blake, please explain our advantages," Lisa said. Ryan Blake stood up. He had been working without sleep for 2 days. His eyes were red, but his voice was strong. "The aliens have always fought enemies who used energy weapons," Ryan said. "Lasers, plasma beams, particle cannons. Their bioships can absorb that kind of energy and use it to heal themselves." The captains listened carefully. This was new information. "But humans learned to fight differently," Ryan continued. "We use kinetic weapons, solid projectiles that hit with massive force. The aliens have never faced anything like our weapons before." Captain Lisa Stone from the UES Devastator asked, "What makes you think our weapons will work?" Ryan pressed his own button. The screen showed test footage from Earth's weapon ranges. A massive cannon fired a tungsten rod at incredible speed. The rod smashed through 6 meters of armor plating like it was paper. "This is the Hellfire Cannon," Ryan explained. "Each of our ships carries 4 of them. They fire tungsten slugs at 20% of light speed. The kinetic energy is enormous. Nothing can absorb that kind of impact." Jake felt excitement building in his chest. He had trained with the Hellfire Cannons but never seen them used against real targets. "The aliens expect us to fight like everyone else they have conquered," Lisa said. "They expect energy weapons and defensive tactics. They will not expect 12 ships to attack 50 ships head-on with kinetic weapons." Captain Pete Miller from the UES Vengeance looked worried. "Admiral, even if our weapons work, they still outnumber us 4-1. Their ships are bigger than ours." "Size is not everything," Lisa replied. "Our ships were built for war, real war. The aliens have conquered weak enemies for so long that they have forgotten how to fight a real battle." She pressed another button. The screen showed the inside of a human ship. Thick armor plates covered every surface. Multiple backup systems filled every space. Emergency bulkheads could seal off damaged sections. "Human ships are built to survive damage and keep fighting," Lisa explained. "We learned this from centuries of fighting each other. We know that ships get hurt in battle. The aliens do not know this. Their bioships can heal, but they are not built to take heavy damage." Commander Blake stood up again. "We have another advantage. Our artificial intelligence systems can coordinate attacks between all 12 ships. When we fire, every shot will be perfectly timed to hit the same target at the same moment." The room was quiet. The captains were thinking about what they had heard. Jake thought about his crew back on the Thunderbolt. Amy at her communication station. Pete flying the ship. All the good people who trusted him to bring them home alive. "What is our battle plan?" asked Captain Walsh. Admiral Grant pressed one more button. The screen showed a tactical display. Blue ships representing the human fleet moved toward red ships representing the aliens. "We will meet them at Saturn," Lisa said. "The battle will happen near the rings. We will use the ring particles as cover and attack in coordinated waves." She pointed to the display. "Each ship will target a different alien vessel. We will concentrate all our firepower and destroy them one by one. The aliens will not have time to adapt their healing to our weapons." Jake raised his hand. "Admiral, what about their fighter ships?" "Intelligence says they use swarms of small vessels. Our point defense systems are designed for exactly that threat," Lisa answered. "Remember, we built these weapons to fight other humans. Human fighters are fast and smart. Alien biofighters will not be harder to shoot down, Captain Stone asked. What if our weapons do not work as well as we hope? The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. What if they were wrong? What if the kinetic weapons could not penetrate alien bioarmor? What if 50,000 people on Titan base died because of their mistake? Admiral Grant looked around the room at each captain. Then we will ram our ships into theirs and explode our reactors. We will not let them reach Titan base. We will not let them kill more humans. The captains nodded. This was the kind of leader they could follow. Someone who would sacrifice everything to protect human lives. You have 2 days to prepare your ships and crews, Lisa continued. Check every weapon. Test every system. Make sure your people know what we are fighting for. The meeting ended. Jake walked back to his shuttle with the other captains. They did not talk much during the trip back to their ships. Each captain was thinking about the battle ahead. When Jake returned to the Thunderbolt, he called his senior officers to the briefing room. Amy Carter was there, along with Pete Johnson and Chief Engineer Danny Ross. These were the people who would help him win or lose the coming battle. We have our orders, Jake told them. In 2 days, we attack the alien fleet at Saturn. This will be the most dangerous mission any of us have ever flown. Danny Ross spoke first. Captain, the engines are running at 100%. All the weapon systems are fully charged. The ship is ready for battle. Pete Johnson nodded. I have been studying the tactical plans. The flight patterns will be difficult, but I can handle them. Amy looked nervous but determined. Captain, I will make sure our communications stay clear during the battle. The other ships will be able to coordinate with us. Jake looked at his officers. These were good people, brave people. In 2 days, he would ask them to risk their lives for all of humanity. Get some rest, Jake told them. In 2 days, we will show the aliens what humans can do when we fight for our families. The Thunderbolt and the other 11 ships continued their preparations. All around Jupiter Station, thousands of people worked to get ready for the battle. Everyone knew that the survival of the human race might depend on what happened at Saturn. The aliens were coming. They expected an easy victory. They thought humans would run away or surrender. They were about to learn that humans do not give up without a fight. The deadliest warships ever built were ready for war. 2 days later, the human fleet moved toward Saturn. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Thunderbolt and watched the giant planet grow larger on the screen. Saturn's rings sparkled like diamonds in the sunlight. It was beautiful, but Jake knew that soon this peaceful place would become a battlefield. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up the alien fleet, Amy Carter announced. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the tension underneath. They are exactly where Admiral Grant predicted they would be. Jake looked at the tactical display. 50 red dots appeared on the screen, moving slowly towards Saturn's rings. The alien bioships looked like sea creatures swimming through space. Their surfaces pulsed with strange lights that moved like heartbeats. How long until they reach us? Jake asked. 30 minutes, sir, replied Pete Johnson from the pilot station. His hands moved over the controls, keeping the Thunderbolt in perfect formation with the other human ships. Jake opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Thunderbolt. Remember your training. Stay in formation. Trust your weapons. Trust each other. Similar messages came from the other 11 captains. Everyone was trying to keep their crews calm and focused. Jake knew that fear could kill a person faster than any alien weapon. The alien fleet moved closer. Through the telescopes, Jake could see individual bioships. They were huge, some over 2 kilometers long. Their surfaces looked like skin stretched over massive bones. Tentacles hung from their sides like the arms of giant squids. My God, whispered Danny Ross, the chief engineer. They really are alive. Jake nodded. The intelligence reports had been correct. These were not machines built in factories. These were living creatures grown in some alien nursery, bred for war and destruction. Captain, Amy said, we are receiving a message from the alien fleet. They want to communicate. Put it on the main speaker, Jake ordered. The bridge filled with a sound like wind blowing through caves. Slowly, the sound changed into words that the computer could translate. Small creatures of the third planet, the alien voice said. You have come to die in the beautiful rings of this gas giant. We are the Zephyrian Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. Your resistance is meaningless. Jake felt anger building in his chest. These aliens thought humans were insects to be stepped on. They were about to learn differently. Admiral Grant's voice came over the fleet communication system. All ships prepare for battle. Target the largest bioships first. Fire when ready. The human fleet spread out into attack formation. Each ship moved to its assigned position among Saturn's rings. The ring particles would help hide them from alien sensors and provide cover during the battle. Jake turned to his weapons officer. Amy, target the bioship on the left side of their formation. The big one with the blue lights. Amy's fingers danced over her controls. Target locked, Captain. Hellfire cannons are charged and ready to fire. Through the window, Jake could see the other human ships taking their positions. The UES Leviathan was in the center, its massive guns pointing at the alien fleet. The UES Retribution moved to the right flank, while the UES Devastator took the left. The alien bioships began to change. Their surfaces rippled like water. Suddenly, thousands of smaller creatures poured out of openings in their sides. The alien fighters looked like flying fish with razor-sharp fins and glowing eyes. Enemy fighters incoming, reported the sensor operator. Estimate 10,000 small vessels. Jake had expected this. The aliens always started their battles the same way. They would send swarms of fighters to confuse and overwhelm their enemies. But human ships were ready for this tactic. Activate point defense systems, Jake ordered. All batteries fire at will. The Thunderbolt's defensive weapons came to life. Hundreds of small cannons began firing streams of projectiles into space. Each bullet was guided by computer systems that could track multiple targets at once. The alien fighters flew directly into the defensive fire. They moved in perfect formations like schools of fish, but the human computers had been programmed for exactly this kind of attack. Explosions began to fill the space between the two fleets, as alien fighters died by the hundreds. Their fighters are not very smart, Amy observed. They're not trying to dodge our fire. Jake smiled grimly. They have never fought an enemy that could shoot back effectively. They are used to easy victories. The main alien fleet continued moving forward. The largest bioship was now close enough for Jake to see details on its surface. Strange symbols covered its skin, pulsing with different colors. It looked like a living tattoo that covered something the size of a small city. All ships commence primary attack, Admiral Grant's voice commanded. Jake took a deep breath. This was the moment that would decide the fate of humanity. Amy, fire the Hellfire cannons. The Thunderbolt shuddered as its main weapons discharged. 4 tungsten slugs, each one accelerated to incredible speed, shot across space toward the target bioship. At the same time, every other human ship fired their weapons at different targets. Jake watched through the telescope as the tungsten slugs hit their target. The bioship's surface exploded where each slug struck. Unlike energy weapons that could be absorbed, the solid projectiles punched clean through the alien vessel's body. The bioship convulsed like a wounded animal. Its lights flickered and changed color. Strange fluids leaked from the holes in its side. For the first time in their history, the Zephyrians were facing weapons that their biological systems could not quickly heal. Direct hit, Amy reported. Target is badly damaged but still moving. Jake could see that the alien ship was trying to repair itself. The holes in its side were slowly closing, but it was taking much longer than the intelligence reports had suggested. The kinetic weapons were working better than anyone had hoped. Fire again, Jake ordered. Do not let it heal. The second volley of tungsten slugs hit before the bioship could fully repair the damage from the first attack. This time the alien vessel stopped moving. Its lights went dark. The massive creature that had terrorized so many worlds was dead. Across the battlefield, similar scenes were playing out. The human fleet's coordinated attack had caught the aliens completely by surprise. Several bioships were already destroyed or badly damaged. The Zephyrians had never faced this kind of concentrated kinetic bombardment, but the aliens were not helpless. The remaining bioships began to return fire with their energy weapons. Beams of pure light shot across space toward the human fleet. When they hit, armor plating melted like ice in a fire. The UES Vengeance took a direct hit from one of the energy beams. Jake watched in horror as the beam cut through the ship's hull. Atmosphere and debris poured out of the wound, but the ship kept fighting. Human engineering had built multiple backup systems into every vessel. Damage report from Vengeance, Amy announced. They have lost main power, but secondary systems are still working. They can still fight. This was the difference between human and alien thinking. The Zephyrians built their bioships to be perfect and invulnerable. When something went wrong, the ships had trouble adapting. Humans built their ships expecting damage and prepared for the worst. Captain Karen Walsh's voice came over the communication system. "This is Retribution. We have destroyed 3 enemy vessels, moving to engage the cluster on the right flank." The battle was spreading across a huge area of space. Ships moved between Saturn's rings, using the ice and rock particles as cover. Explosions lit up the darkness like fireworks. Both sides were taking damage, but the humans were winning. Jake looked at the tactical display. The alien fleet had lost 15 ships already. The human fleet had taken damage, but no ships had been destroyed. The Zephyrians were learning what it meant to fight humans. "Captain," Amy said, "the aliens are trying to retreat. Several bioships are turning away from the battle." Jake shook his head. "Admiral Grant will not let them escape. If they get away, they will come back with better defenses." He was right. Admiral Grant's voice filled the communication channels. "All ships, pursue the retreating enemy. Do not let any of them escape. This ends here and now." The human fleet changed formation and began chasing the fleeing bioships. The Battle of Saturn was far from over, but already it was clear that the Zephyrians had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked a species that had been preparing for war for thousands of years. Jake looked out at the stars and thought about all the human colonies that would be safe if they won this battle. Children would grow up without fear of alien invasion. Families would be reunited. The human race would survive and grow stronger. The Thunderbolt accelerated toward the fleeing aliens. Around it, 11 other human warships followed in perfect formation. The deadliest fleet ever built was about to finish what the aliens had started. The chase through Saturn's rings had lasted 3 hours. Captain Jake Morrison watched as his fleet hunted down the fleeing alien bioships one by one. The Zephyrians were learning that humans did not give up easily. When humans decided to fight, they fought until the end. "Captain, we have caught up with another group of bioships," Amy Carter reported from her station. 3 medium-sized vessels trying to reach the edge of the system. Jake looked at the tactical screen. The alien ships were moving as fast as they could, but human engines were more powerful. The bioships had been designed for easy conquests, not desperate escapes. "Signal the Devastator and Retribution," Jake ordered. "We will attack together. Do not let any of them get away." Captain Lisa Stone's voice came through the communication system. "This is Devastator. We are ready to engage. These aliens picked the wrong species to threaten." The 3 human ships spread out to surround the fleeing bioships. Jake could see panic in the alien movements. Their ships were weaving back and forth trying to avoid the approaching humans. The smooth, confident formations from the beginning of the battle were gone. "Target the largest bioship," Jake told Amy. "All weapons, full power." The Thunderbolt's Hellfire Cannons charged with a deep humming sound that Jake could feel in his bones. Around him, his crew worked with perfect coordination. They had trained for years for moments like this. The tungsten slugs crossed space in seconds. They hit the bioship's hull with tremendous force, punching holes completely through the alien vessel. The bioship tried to heal the damage, but more shots from the Devastator and Retribution kept opening new wounds. "The aliens are trying something different," observed Pete Johnson from the pilot station. "Look at their formation." Jake watched as the remaining bioships suddenly changed direction. Instead of running away, they were turning back toward the human ships. Their surfaces began to glow brighter, and Jake could see they were preparing for some kind of desperate attack. They are going to ram us, Amy said with surprise in her voice. The bioships are trying to crash into our ships. Jake had read about this tactic in the intelligence reports. When other alien species had been losing battles, some had tried suicide attacks. The Zephyrians must be more desperate than anyone had thought. All ships evasive maneuvers, Jake commanded. Do not let them make contact. Pete's hands flew over the controls. The Thunderbolt twisted and rolled like a fighter plane, dodging the incoming bioship. The alien vessel was huge and slow compared to the nimble human warship. But the bioship had one advantage. As it flew toward them, it began releasing clouds of smaller organisms. These were not fighters like before. They looked like living missiles, each one aimed at a different part of the Thunderbolt. Point defense systems, maximum fire, Jake ordered. The ship's defensive weapons began destroying the living missiles, but there were hundreds of them. Some got through the defensive fire and struck the hull. Where they hit, the metal began to dissolve. The organisms were eating the ship's armor. Hull breach on Deck 7, reported Danny Ross from engineering. The alien organisms are some kind of acid. They are eating through our armor plating. Jake felt a moment of fear. This was something new. The aliens had saved their most dangerous weapons for last. But human ships were built to survive damage. Seal Deck 7, Jake ordered. Emergency containment procedures. Do not let those things spread to other parts of the ship. Heavy blast doors slammed shut, trapping the acid organisms in one section of the ship. The human crew in that area had already evacuated to safety. This was exactly the kind of situation that human military engineers had planned for. The bioship that had attacked them was now drifting helplessly. Its ramming attack had failed, and the combined fire from 3 human ships had torn it apart. But Jake could see that the other bioships were preparing similar attacks. Captain, Amy said, I am getting reports from across the fleet. The aliens are using these acid organisms against all our ships. The Admiral's flagship has been hit multiple times. Jake opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships watch for biological weapons. Use emergency containment procedures. Do not let the acid spread through your ships. Admiral Grant's voice came through the communication system. She sounded calm despite the damage to her ship. The aliens are getting desperate. That means we are winning. Press the attack. Finish them off. The battle continued for another hour. The aliens kept trying their suicide attacks, but human defensive systems were too good. The bioships were destroyed before they could cause major damage. The acid organisms were dangerous, but human engineering kept them contained. Finally, the last group of alien ships was cornered near one of Saturn's smaller moons. There were only 8 bioships left out of the 50 that had started the battle. They were badly damaged and running out of power. This is Admiral Grant to all ships, came the announcement. Prepare to finish this battle. All weapons target. The remaining aliens. Jake looked at his crew. They were tired but determined. Amy had been at her station for over 6 hours. Pete had been flying the ship through dangerous maneuvers all day. Danny had been fixing damage and keeping the engines running. They were all heroes. One more attack, Jake told them. Then we can go home. The final assault was devastating. 12 human ships fired all their weapons at the same time. The remaining bioships were completely overwhelmed. Tungsten slugs tore through their hulls faster than they could heal. Within minutes, the entire alien fleet was destroyed. The battlefield fell silent. Pieces of destroyed bioships drifted through Saturn's rings like strange metal snow. After hours of explosions and weapons fire, the quiet felt almost unnatural. All ships report your status, Admiral Grant commanded. One by one, the ship captains reported their condition. The UES Vengeance had lost its main engines but was still spaceworthy. The UES Guardian had hull breaches but was repairing them. Every human ship had been damaged, but not a single one had been destroyed. Casualties? Asked the Admiral. The reports came in slowly. 47 humans had died in the battle. Compared to the thousands who had died in the alien attacks on the colonies, it was a small number. But Jake knew that every life was precious. We did it, Amy said quietly. We actually beat them. Jake nodded. The most powerful alien fleet in known space had been completely destroyed. 50 bioships that had conquered dozens of worlds were now floating debris. The Zephyrian Empire had suffered its first major defeat, but Jake knew the battle was only the beginning. Somewhere out in space there were more alien fleets. The Zephyrians would not give up after one loss. They would come back with new weapons and new tactics. "Captain," Pete said, "we are receiving a strange signal. It is coming from the direction of the alien homeworlds." Jake looked at the communication display. The signal was different from the battle communications they had heard before. This one sounded more formal, more official. "Put it on the speaker," Jake ordered. The bridge filled with the same wind-like alien voice they had heard at the beginning of the battle. But this time, the tone was completely different. "Warriors of Earth," the alien voice said, "we have observed your victory over our forward fleet. We did not expect such resistance from your species. We wish to discuss terms." Jake felt surprise and suspicion at the same time. The aliens wanted to talk instead of fight. But could humans trust them after everything that had happened? Admiral Grant's voice came over the fleet communication system. "All ships, maintain battle readiness. We will listen to what they have to say, but we will not lower our guard," the alien voice continued. "We propose a meeting between our representatives and yours. We have underestimated your species. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach to human space." Jake looked out at the wreckage of the alien fleet floating in Saturn's rings. The Zephyrians had learned a hard lesson about human determination. They had expected an easy victory and found a fight to the death instead. "What do you think, Captain?" Amy asked. "Can we trust them?" Jake thought about all the humans who had died in the alien attacks. He thought about the families on the colonies who had lost their homes. The aliens had started this war. Now they wanted to talk because they were losing. "We will listen," Jake said finally. "But we will be ready to fight again if we have to. Humans do not forget what happened to our people." The Thunderbolt and the rest of the human fleet began the long journey back to Earth. They were returning as heroes, the first humans to defeat a major alien invasion. But Jake knew that the real test was still ahead. The aliens wanted to negotiate, but humans would have to decide if they could ever trust a species that had tried to destroy them. The war was not over. It was just beginning a new phase, and humans would be ready for whatever came next. 3 days after the Battle of Saturn, the human fleet arrived at a neutral location between Earth and the alien homeworlds. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Thunderbolt and watched as a single alien bioship approached their position. This ship was different from the warships they had fought. It was smaller and covered with peaceful blue lights instead of the angry red ones they had seen before. Admiral Lisa Grant had chosen to meet with the aliens on her flagship, the UES Leviathan. Jake and 5 other captains were invited to attend the historic meeting. This would be the first time humans and Zephyrians would talk face-to-face without trying to kill each other. "Captain, the alien ship is requesting permission to dock with the Leviathan," Amy Carter reported. "They say their representative wants to come aboard." Jake nodded. "Tell them they can dock, but remind them that our weapons are still active. If they try anything dangerous, we will defend ourselves." The alien ship attached itself to the Leviathan like a living creature embracing another. Jake took a shuttle to the Admiral's ship, along with the other captains who had been selected for the meeting. As he walked through the corridors of the Leviathan, he could feel the tension in the air. Everyone was wondering what the aliens really wanted. The meeting room was the same one where they had planned the battle 3 days ago. But now, instead of discussing how to destroy the alien fleet, they were preparing to talk with the enemy. Jake took his seat at the long table and waited. The door opened and Admiral Grant entered, followed by Commander Ryan Blake and 2 other senior officers. Behind them came something that made Jake's breath catch in his throat. The alien representative was walking on 2 legs like a human, but that was where the similarity ended. The creature was tall and thin, with pale green skin that seemed to glow from inside. Its head was larger than a human head, with huge, black eyes that reflected the room's lights. When it moved, its body flowed like water. Jake could see why their ships looked alive. The aliens themselves looked like living art. "I am Speaker Voss of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. Its voice was the same wind-like sound they had heard in space, but now it seemed more personal. I come to speak with the warriors of Earth. Admiral, Grant gestured to a chair that had been prepared for the alien. I am Admiral Lisa Grant, Commander of Earth's Space Forces. These are my senior officers. We are here to listen to what you have to say. Speaker Voss moved to the chair but did not sit down. Instead, it stood behind the chair with its hands resting on the back. Jake noticed that its hands had 6 fingers, each one longer and thinner than human fingers. Your species has surprised us, Speaker Voss began. In 400 years of expansion, we have never encountered resistance like yours. Most species surrender after we destroy their first colony. Others fight briefly and then accept their fate. You are different. Jake felt a mixture of pride and anger. The alien spoke as if conquering other species was normal business. They had destroyed entire civilizations and thought nothing of it. We did not choose this war, Admiral Grant said. Her voice was calm but firm. You attacked our colonies. You killed our people. We only defended ourselves. Speaker Voss's large eyes seemed to focus on each human in turn. This is true. We expected you to submit like the others. When you did not, we sent our strongest fleet to force your surrender. That fleet no longer exists. The alien's honesty was surprising. Jake had expected lies and excuses, but Speaker Voss was admitting that the Zephyrians had been completely defeated. The Council of Speakers has spent many days discussing what happened at Saturn, the alien continued. Your weapons are unlike anything we have faced. Your tactics are strange to us. Your ships continue to fight even when badly damaged. We do not understand how you do this. Commander Blake leaned forward. We learned to fight by fighting each other for thousands of years. Every human weapon, every human tactic was tested against other humans first. We know how to wage war because we have always been at war. Speaker Voss made a sound that might have been surprise or respect. This explains much. Other species we have conquered were peaceful. They had no experience with real warfare. You are a species of warriors. Jake thought about what the alien was saying. Humans had indeed spent most of their history fighting each other. Wars had driven human technology forward. The need to defeat other humans had created weapons that could defeat anyone. What does your empire want from us now? Admiral Grant asked. Speaker Voss was quiet for a long moment. When it spoke again, its voice was different, softer, almost respectful. The Council of Speakers has decided that humans cannot be conquered by force. Your weapons are too effective. Your determination is too strong. We have lost 50 warships and thousands of crew members. We cannot afford to lose more. Admiral Grant nodded. So you want to make peace? More than peace, Speaker Voss said. We want to offer you partnership. The Zephyrian Empire controls 47 star systems. We have resources and knowledge that could benefit your species. In return, we ask that you share your military technology with us. Jake felt shock run through the room. The aliens were not just surrendering. They were offering to make humans equal partners in their empire. You want us to join you? Captain Karen Walsh asked. We want to join you, Speaker Voss corrected. Your species has proven itself superior in warfare. We believe that together, humans and Zephyrians could become the most powerful force in the galaxy. Jake could see that Admiral Grant was considering the offer carefully. Partnership with the aliens would give humans access to dozens of star systems and alien technology, but it would also mean working with a species that had tried to destroy them. What guarantee do we have that you will not attack us again? Admiral Grant asked. Speaker Voss reached into a pouch on its side and withdrew a small glowing object. This is a memory crystal. It contains the complete records of our battle at Saturn. The Council of Speakers has distributed copies to every Zephyrian world. Your victory is now part of our history. No Zephyrian will ever again underestimate human military power. The alien placed the crystal on the table. More importantly, we have learned that humans are not prey. You are predators like us. Predators do not hunt other predators unless they must. It is easier to hunt together. Jake found himself nodding. The alien logic made sense. Two powerful species working together would be stronger than either one, alone. We will need time to consider your offer, Admiral Grant said. This decision affects all of humanity. Our governments will need to discuss it. Of course, Speaker Voss agreed. We will wait for your answer. But know this. Other species in the galaxy have been watching what happened at Saturn. They have seen humans defeat the Zephyrian Empire. Some will want to test your strength for themselves. Others will want to ally with you. The galaxy is about to change, and humans will be at the center of that change. The meeting continued for several more hours. The humans asked questions about Zephyrian technology and society. Speaker Voss answered honestly, providing information that would have been impossible to get through spying or warfare. When the meeting ended, Jake walked back to his shuttle with mixed feelings. The aliens had offered humanity everything they could want: peace, partnership, and access to advanced technology. But the cost would be working with a species that had murdered thousands of innocent humans. "What do you think, Captain?" Amy asked when Jake returned to the Thunderbolt. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, dozens of alien species were watching and waiting to see what humans would do next. The Battle of Saturn had announced to the galaxy that Earth was now a major power. "I think everything has changed," Jake said finally. "We went to Saturn to protect our colonies. We came back as one of the most feared military forces in known space." Pete Johnson was running final checks on the ship's systems. "Are we going to accept their offer?" Jake considered the question. The Zephyrians had proven they could be beaten, but they had also proven they could learn from defeat. Working with them might be the smart choice. "That decision is above my pay grade," Jake said with a smile. "But I think Admiral Grant is right. This affects all of humanity. Everyone should have a say in what happens next." The human fleet began its journey back to Earth. They were returning as heroes, but also as representatives of a new era. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, by destroying the fleet of the most powerful alien empire. Other species would take notice. Some would want to challenge the new human power. Others would want to ally with Earth. But all of them would know that humans were not victims to be conquered. They were warriors to be respected. Jake looked at his crew one last time. Amy was already working on reports about the battle. Pete was calculating the course back to Earth. Danny was checking the damage from the alien acid organisms. They were all good people who had done their duty when humanity needed them most. The Thunderbolt and its sister ships had become legends. They were the deadliest warships ever built, not because of their weapons or armor, but because they were crewed by humans who refused to surrender. The galaxy would remember the Battle of Saturn for 1,000 years. As the fleet jumped to hyperspace, Jake thought about the future. Humanity had survived its first